Oh, so Teddy, we have you here. What are your thoughts on the Batman trailer?
Oh, dude, it was fucking insane.
Yeah, all right,
Loved it.
too bad. We're going to talk about Captain America, so.
At the end of this one, we'll
Yeah, definitely.
Battinson.
Yep, no, definitely.
my thoughts.
We got you. Yep, get them all out there.
Because I got ditched for the pod.
No,
so.
we'll definitely come back to you.
All right.
After this, okay?
Yep.
All right.
I won't forget, so.
Okay. Well, Ted, before I give my thoughts on Captain America, I would like to thank our sponsor for today's video, Raid Shadow Legends. I think it's safe to assume our viewers are fans of epic dark fantasies, and that is why I think you guys will love this game. With both stunning gameplay and graphics that you could take anywhere, and a campaign that has you fighting against noble kings and dark wizards, Raid is the perfect immersive experience for mobile gamers. In the beginning of your journey, you can choose from 16 different factions to fight with. Me, personally, I've always been an orc guy because of their brute strength, so I like to play with Gallic. Also, he kind of reminds me of Teddy, so that's a plus. There's a host of champions to choose from orcs to dark elves to normal elves, dwarves, lizardmen, skinwalkers, and more. The fastest way to level up your champion is by grinding the campaign, where you will receive loads of XP and silver by fighting bosses and completing levels. Raid is about to release a huge champion update, tweaking and rebalancing over 20 different champions to make PvP arena battles even more competitive. And if that's not enough, the Forge is coming up. So now you could save time and start crafting top quality artifacts and competing right away. And remember, you can use our link in the description box below to download Raid now. Every new player will receive an exclusive welcome pack that contains 50,000 silver, 50 gems, 5 mystery shards, 1 energy refill, 1 day XP boost, 1 canned boss key, and a free awesome champion, Hexweaver. You will find your rewards here in your inbox for the next 30 days only. So don't wait, download Raid Shadow Legends now and begin your journey.
Okay. I need a volunteer.
I already volunteered. How do you think I got here? Bring back the girls!
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Nerd Soup. I am Bo Oliver, here today with Aaron, the Nerd Soup Monkey, and Teddy, and we are back to continue our Marvel Revisited series with Captain America, the First Avenger.
Great movie. It was a lot better than I thought it was. No, I love this movie. It was great. It had... fuck, man. I want to say something, but I don't know if that's like...
Did you watch the correct movie?
Yeah.
Captain America, the First Avenger, not
yeah.
Winter Soldier.
No.
Or the first Avengers movie.
Red Skull.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, Loki was great in this, bringing him back after Thor, didn't know that he made it.
I like this movie too. I don't think it's as...
Well, we'll get back to you,
Yeah.
Teddy.
No.
We'll come
Aaron,
back to you for Batman thoughts and Captain America
Yeah.
thoughts.
You started off and say you like it, and I'll come in.
No, I enjoyed this movie. I think it has a lot of sentimental value to me. I don't put it at the top tier of Marvel movies, but this was around the time I started getting really into Marvel movies. And I was always a fan of Captain America, so when this came out, I actively sought it out, and this kind of got me kind of re-engaged with, I guess, the superhero genre. So I think this movie, for the most part, it's not anything special. It's just a lot of fun. It's Captain America in World War II, beating up Nazis, punching Hitler in the face.
The setting in this movie is it was actually pretty cool seeing the war. You know, for the longest time, I always thought Red Skull was part of Hitler, but it was just Red Skull just wanted to kill the entire world. I thought he was part of the Hitler regime.
He's in the inner circle.
Yeah,
he was,
there.
but I mean, he's breaking out of it.
He was one of Hitler's boys, and then he left as an unrestricted free agent. Got a better deal for himself, really.
They would have got the Tesseract.
You know, Hugo Weaving actually did win Best Supporting Actor.
He was great in this movie, man. Every time he came on the screen, I was happy to see him.
Yeah, no, he was terrific, and he actually didn't. I don't want people to comment. No, he didn't. But yeah, no, Hugo Weaving was great. And the cast, and before we get into the cast, actually, I'll just talk about how I feel about the movie. It does feel like kind of like an antique in a collection of modern blockbusters. And it is Paramount. It is before Disney bought it out, so it's before the formula really came into play. But it feels like a throwback. It feels like it's nostalgic for those old Superman movies, and it's got that old superhero flavor to it. And of course, the World War II story. You said it perfectly, putting it back in the 1940s. That's where this character originated. So great introduction for this character, and an appropriate introduction.
I don't know if it's just because I'm used to what we're getting now, but I don't remember this movie. It's not particularly violent compared to everything else we watch. But for the MCU, I mean, they're running around, they're sniping people, they're killing people. I was a little surprised by some of that.
Yeah, it's kind of got that old school 60s, 70s PG-13 violence where people are going to die, they're going to be shot, but it's very wholesome.
Yeah,
there's
definitely.
comedy throughout, there are moments of levity throughout. It's not laugh out loud funny, but it's, it gets you smiling, it gets you chuckling. And the violence as well, it doesn't shy away from the fact that this is a war setting.
Mm-hmm.
Like what you just said with the laughing. Chris Evans, I think him and Chris Hemsworth figured it out. The first 45 minutes in the movie, it was bland, but Chris Evans did a great job of putting his comedic timing in there too.
He even says that he was out of it in that beginning because he had to lose all that weight to play the smaller Steve Rogers character. So he was really dehydrated. He had to get down and shrink to be that size. So it took a lot out of him.
Yeah,
and then he had to bulk up again. And
it actually looked pretty good though. As much as awkward as it does look, it actually doesn't look that bad.
It doesn't take me out of it. I think when you first see it, you're thinking, whoa, why is Chris Evans that tiny?
His fucking huge.
Yeah, he got the big ass head. Well, I think Chris Evans and Chris Hemsworth, it's two cases of actors who have really just gotten better as they continue to just do more and more movies. You get the practice, and the scripts have gotten better, and so have the actors. But with this, he's a character. It's like Superman. He's there to be the Boy Scout. He represents the best of humanity, and I think Chris Evans captures that perfectly.
Yeah, his character itself, the first 45 minutes he's such a genuinely good person, and I love. Can you say character development, because he didn't go from good to bad or bad to good? It was just, I think.
Why are you saying eh?
He was kind of annoying. Just run away.
He's a good guy.
Yeah.
He says it perfect. He says if you run away, they're always gonna keep chasing you. He says to Peggy. And it's if you stand up, maybe one day it'll just stop.
Or one day you just get injected with the super serum and you're bigger and faster than everybody else.
No, but he doesn't take. But all right, so that's a good point. He doesn't take that and becomes this big bad bully. He still has the good and wants to do so much good in this world.
Yeah, I know. I'm just joking around, but I think that's the main point of his character. That's why they chose him, is because he's not the most, I guess. He's
tallest.
Not. Yeah. He's not like the other guys.
The cookie cutter guy,
he's not strong. He's not fast, but they take him for his intangibles. The person who would jump on a grenade for anybody. The person who
the role player
tried to join the military 5 different times and risk being arrested and breaking the law to do so, just so he can help. So yeah, that's the character Steve is, and
yeah, all the friends that he's watched go to war and never return home, and even Bucky, his best friend, someone who's been with him since he was a young child, and it's some of that survivor's guilt. Yeah. And his whole life he's probably been told you can't do this, and now it's something as simple as just defending your country, and I still can't do this. Yeah, even the other people being tall and strong isn't helping them because people are being picked off left and right.
It's kind of like Hacksaw Ridge in that sense, where Andrew Garfield's character sees everyone else going, so he kind of wants to join the fight and not get left behind. But I think my main takeaway from this movie was how important, and I guess the larger MCU. Think about films like Civil War, his dynamic with Tony Stark, his dynamic with T'Challa, all stems from his relationship with Bucky, and this is the first glimpse we have into these two.
Yeah, Bucky's been there since the beginning, man. Phase 1, the first Captain America. And we see their goodbye in Endgame. It was such an emotional scene. They repeat the line that, "Don't do anything stupid until I get back." So yeah, no, he's really been there since the beginning. And the world building with the Tesseract. We saw the Tesseract in Thor, but now we see who had the Tesseract in the 1940s and how it eventually got into the hands of S.H.I.E.L.D. And that's how they introduced Red Skull. He's invading Norway under the Nazi banner. But that's another great tie-in to the Norse gods and Norway. David Bradley, Walder Frey, is keeping the Tesseract power. And Hugo Weaving, the accent is very good. I think all the English actors, and even Stanley Tucci, American actor, doing the German accent, they're all good. But that introduction to that character, he's just awesome. He's such an awesome villain.
I don't think the villain is particularly great in this movie. I think Hugo Weaving does a great job as Red Skull, but I feel like they could have went into a little more. And I think this is the era that gets the worst rap in the MCU of having the blandest villains. And I think he's definitely cool, but I don't think anything stood out to me in terms of his character arc or his villain development and things like that. He was just very much, I'm going to destroy the world and take over.
But he was just the bad guy, which I do like. It wasn't like a bad guy with a soft side. He was straight up evil.
Sometimes you don't need that. Sometimes just a regular generic bad guy fits the plot. And I think it does here. It allows Captain America to kind of meet an equal and overcome.
Everything in this movie is completely unbelievable. The serum makes no sense. I didn't even try and explain it scientifically, but it just works. When they say, "Oh, Steve, you're good, so it's going to enhance those qualities in you," and for Red Skull, he was egocentric individual, so it just enhanced those narcissistic qualities. It's simple, it works, and Joe Johnston, the director who's known for The Rocketeer, Jurassic Park 3,
And his clutch fourth quarter performances in the playoffs.
right,
Johnson gets a shot off.
and Jumanji. All his movies kind of have that similar atmosphere where
The big universe kind of thing?
yeah, and they're fun. They really capture what you can do in the PG-13 rating, and where they will get violent at times, but they can be a bit more lighthearted, and that's really what this movie is. It kind of just fits right into this director's filmography. This is probably the second best Phase 1 movie.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, besides Avengers, because that is the end of Phase 1.
Yeah, true.
But Sebastian Stan as Bucky, he's very good. He's a charismatic dude, and this isn't, I mean, he's much more famous now. Obviously, he's shown his acting chops in other films besides just blockbusters, but he is, because you see the switch midway through where Steve Rogers is now the tall, buff one. He gets jealous, but it's never envy.
And I think we see that play out, like I said, throughout the MCU, especially in Winter Soldier and beyond, what Captain America does to get his friend back, the Bucky that he knew. And even for both of them, going from this era to modern day, and think about all the people they've lost and all the friends they've made throughout this movie. Yeah, as we see, or they're pretty much all dead, or like Peggy is in the hospital and can't remember who he is. So
yeah, that's why the sacrifice does hit so hard at the end, because he obviously survives, but he loses everything. The final line of the movie is great when he asks him what year it is, and Nick Fury tells him, and he says, "I had a date."
Yeah.
It's very sad. And the supporting characters in this film, I mean, Stanley Tucci as Dr. Erskine, he's fantastic. You know, you really realize how much that relationship meant to him. He's kind of like his Uncle Ben, where he does die right after Steve finishes the transformation.
Yeah,
and it's that last poke at the heart. Yeah, it's that, and those last moments that they shared together.
That little interaction they had right before he goes to the surgery. It was funny and it was heartfelt too.
Right, yeah, when he
was
takes
great.
the drink.
Yeah.
Oh, you have a procedure tomorrow. You can't drink.
I don't have one though.
Stanley Tucci is just a fantastic actor, man. Everything he's in, you could tell that he just loves his job.
Another great supporting character, Peggy, like Bucky, in this movie, it kind of plays a huge role in Endgame too. That's the reason why Cap goes back, and they finally do have that dance that they talk about throughout this film. And
she was really a fan favorite, man. They loved going back to her. I mean, she's got cameos in other movies like Ant-Man when it's
Agent Carter.
Agent Carter, she got her own television show, and she's definitely a fan favorite. And she's another character where, without these supporting characters, this movie doesn't sit at like an 8.5, because it just really, I really do like it. So, and it's because of the relationship between Steve and Peggy, second to Tony and Pepper.
I guess I just don't know why you'd want to join the army if you were a beautiful dame, or a woman, an agent, not a dame. You are beautiful, but.
And I think one of the reasons Haley Atwell has had such staying power in this universe, even after this movie, is because she just exudes authority. She's plays such a convincing military officer. And that relationship between her and Steve, it's built on a mutual respect that they have for each other in their positions, in their respective positions. And she grows to care for him throughout that journey. And it doesn't hurt that he comes out absolutely shredded after that procedure.
I'm curious to know you guys' thoughts on after he gets turned into Captain America, when there's that whole montage when he gets the team, he gets his time to shine when he goes and saves the troops. And then they do this whole little montage of him doing all these missions. Did you guys like that, or would you have rather seen more action fighting?
I think it's a great, like you said, some of the shots with the flames going in the back of him, and he has some of those poses. I think it looks sick.
When he's got the gun out.
Yeah.
I always love when he has the gun out, when he knocks in the door. But I also like, because it does, that's why I enjoy the old school Captain America suit in the Avengers movie, because he is a man out of time. So I do like the dramatic shift in his fighting style from this movie to Winter Soldier, because this is 21st century Cap. He's just going to fucking kick you off the boat. He's not gonna do things.
He wasn't in his mode where it's just like good first. It was just like he wanted to get the job done.
Right, and it's set in the 1940s. I like that the choreography isn't anything special. I mean, there are some great fighting moments in this movie, but
even that fight with Red Skull wasn't that serious. There was really no fighting together. It was a couple punches here and there.
Yeah, the best scene between him and Red Skull is when they're on the catwalk and the catwalk is closing, and they just have those interactions where he reveals the face. Great makeup, by the way. That's why Hugo Weaving didn't want to come back. And the writers for this movie, Christopher Marcus and Stephen McFeely, They've written all the Captain America movies and 2 Avengers movies, so they know this character better than anyone, and they've kept some of the catchphrases, I can do this all day, but, you know, the effort that they go to develop the relationship between Steve and Peggy, those training sequences, him at boot camp, it's clever, the narrative there. Them having to try and get the flag, and then he just takes out the bolt.
Yeah.
And him jumping on the grenade, that's another inspiring moment. This is why I always say with DC, with Superman, this will make people feel good. And it's such a classic. Everyone loves the underdog story.
Right.
And it's funny to read about Tommy Lee's description of his character, skeptical, gruff military commander who's got his team of clever soldiers. And that's really what he is. And Tommy Lee Jones can do this in his sleep.
Yeah.
I actually do think in a couple times he was sleeping in this.
He could have been, dude.
Yeah, was my line? Or
Like with Red Skull, I think this movie lends to having characters like that, where they're not trying to do anything too spectacular, but you can have these generic characters, you know, interact with Steve Rogers, and it's more of his story too. So it's kind of hitting all those baselines to allow Steve Rogers kind of face some obstacles and grow as a character.
What did you guys think about the setting of Brooklyn in this movie? Does it look real to you? Does it look convincing enough? To me, it does. It's very much a movie set, but I think that almost adds to it.
I was going to say it looked too much like a movie set for me.
Right. Well, it kind of feels like a play almost. And
There's not much you can do.
A lot of the movie looks like that, though.
Yeah, it looks fake.
Yeah.
But I like that. It adds more nostalgia for me.
Yeah, I mean, they did some things with the grading to make you like, oh, in case you didn't know, it takes place in the 1940s.
Yeah.
But it does have a different, I guess, feel and different look than other MCU films. So
right. Well, the MCU with the cinematography, the big criticism is that they all do kind of look too much alike, and at times they can be a bit bland. I would prefer this, where it does pop a little bit more, even though at times it's clearly a movie set. The sets in Thor, for me, because they were just so bland and basic, that's where I can't appreciate it. But for this movie, I can. They're trying to get old-timey Brooklyn. I like when he's riding around the city and telling Peggy about all the different spots. Yeah, where he got beat up.
The sound effects, because I want to go into. I loved it when the shield's hitting people and.
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
It's a great sound, and even when they're shooting, I guess the power from the Tesseract.
You will be brought before the Führer himself!
Well, I mean, Star Wars, man. I can listen to those lasers and TIE fighters. Sound design is huge for a movie like this. Yeah, no, that's a good point.
It sounds just like Tony Stark's cannons.
Yeah, the repulsors. Well, Stark, having Howard Stark, I think Dominic Cooper, he was just a perfect young Stark. When you're watching him at the expo, you're thinking, oh, of course that's Tony's dad.
Of Tony Stark.
Yeah, he's got the charisma, he's got the swag. When the technology doesn't work, he's like, I did say a few years, didn't I? Yeah, Dominic Cooper is great.
What must have been fun for a lot of comic book fans to watch for the first time in a theater, you see when he uses the garbage can top as a shield.
Right.
He uses the door as a shield. Bucky picks up the shield. You have Zola look into that big mirror and that circle and things like that. So there are a lot of fun little Easter eggs for comic book fans in there.
The Ultron line that always makes me laugh is the rarest metal on Earth, and they made a frisbee.
That's great.
What should we do with this? Let's just make a shield. Well, Alan Silvestri doing the score for this movie and then going on to score the Avengers. The Captain America theme I love the Captain America theme and the way that they've brought it back throughout the movies.
Yeah, it just feels like America.
Yeah, and Red Skull Johann Schmidt, he is an evil bastard, but I think he does really appreciate the friendship he has with Zola. Because he scolds him at times and he chides him, but they're buddies. And he gives him the keys to the whip.
I remember the first time I watched this movie when he's like, "Oh, where am I gonna go?" I felt so bad for him.
Don't scratch it.
Then he gives him the keys.
Scratch,
I'm like,
doctor.
Oh my God, they're friends.
They are buddies. Yeah, he gives him a hard time when he's failing with his military strategies.
Kind of like you guys and me, dude. Those costumes for their guys they're pretty cool, but
very menacing. But they're very like stormtroopery.
Yeah, exactly.
They just look cool, run around, and
Hail Hydra.
Don't do much.
Yeah, I do love the scene when Captain America frees all the men and they start fighting back, and that's a great scene, man. Him returning with all the soldiers, finally proving Tommy Lee Jones wrong.
They got a fun little crew there.
Yeah, you know, it was a great line that actually goes with Avengers when Schmidt says that line about magic and science.
Yes, another reference to Thor.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, Thor saying that our magic is just science that you haven't learned yet.
Right.
And Zola is another character who's found his way in several different movies.
What's Doctor Strange's magic? That's just magic.
Straight magic.
No, that's just straight up supernatural magic. That's just straight up plucking a hair from Thor's head, and I can find Anthony Hopkins. What's the science behind that? Don't ask. The moment where Captain America is trying to avenge Stanley Tucci's character, that's the beginning of the fight versus Hydra. This is like an 80-year fight for this man. They just keep coming back, and as soon as he becomes Captain America, the fight with Hydra begins, and he's been fighting them ever since. And that's a noble lesson to learn. No matter how old you are, you can always fight Nazis.
That's a fun little chase sequence too there in the beginning when he's chasing the guy who's trying to steal the formula. You know, he's a little clumsy. He doesn't really know to use his body
legs.
yet.
First day with the new legs guy.
And the moment, it's right out of a 1950s, 60s movie when the little kid gets thrown into the water.
Go get him! I can swim!
It's so wholesome. It's so cheesy.
I was getting anxiety when he was running with no shoes on.
You know what? I felt like it's like running in the hallway. You feel like you're faster. I bet running on those streets of Brooklyn, he felt so. It wasn't even like he was enhanced. He just felt faster. You know?
It did bother me though when he swam to get the submarine. You're not swimming to get the submarine.
You know what? He was too fast. Yeah, that submarine had so much space in between him.
It's Captain America.
Yeah, I guess so. The water's different, man. Water's a beast.
That does suck though. I don't know if I would trade not being able to get drunk to be Captain America. Although they do say that his metabolism is 5 times faster. Here's an idea, Cap. Drink 5 times as much.
Yeah, it needs a giant just Stanley cup of alcohol.
5 times faster doesn't seem that much faster though, right? Or am I bugging?
For metabolism?
Yeah, I swear when she said 5 times faster, I'm like, I can do that. I can get it there.
Your metabolism?
Yeah.
That's a lot. Imagine being 5 times as strong and as fast as you are right now.
I don't think that's superhuman strength. That's like bodybuilding strength.
Well, it's like 5 times probably the strongest and fastest person in the world.
Yeah,
well, I think
it
said
peak
they
physical
said
human
Usain
condition.
Bolt runs like 27 miles per hour, and they say Cap goes like 60 to 80. That's fucking
Who's
fast.
clocking
Needs to
him?
slow down.
Imagine
Who's clocking him?
whipping it on the highway and like
Cap zooms by.
They do it in Winter Soldier.
Yes, I do. Every time I see that, man, the way zip,
Yeah.
zip, the way they all zip by is great. But yeah, no, that scene when he's trying to get fucked up that's where he's thinking about Bucky, his big loss. And even though we know Bucky is going to come back, it is sad because you do love Bucky, and Sebastian Stan, like I said, he's very charming in this role. So even though comic book fans knew he was coming back at the time, a lot of people probably didn't. And I think it is a death that hits hard, and it just pushes Captain America further to want to take down Red Skull and Hydra. So it sucks that he can't get drunk. Maybe he can get high.
I doubt it.
He wouldn't do that. He's like, I smoke it. I don't inhale.
I can't do it.
once in college.
Once a guy, he should run for politics, right? After Endgame, he'd be a shoo-in.
Wasn't that his whole thing? He wasn't a big fan of the government telling him what to do.
Well, the great leaders never are.
Yeah, they're always like anti-government, and these guys want to fix it.
And not only the Bucky Barnes death, but I think his, not death, but his sacrifice at the end, it does hit home because you're unsure of what's going to happen here. You don't know if this is a Marvel Cinematic Universe, if he's coming back for the Avengers. So, and it's the time lost. It's the time that he loses with Peggy that makes it so emotional in the end.
I think the third act itself isn't all that great, but it is an emotional way to cap off the movie.
I'll tell you what, it was fucking
Peggy.
tense when they were trying to drive him so he can jump on the plane when they had to hit that turn.
I love how she's like, wait, we're in the middle of a high-speed chase.
I
That
did the same thing.
if we miss this opportunity, the whole
We got like a second
East
here.
Coast is
Yeah.
destroyed.
0.7 window here. Take off your pants. Tommy Lee Jones, I'm not giving you a kiss.
Yeah, I think that emotional moment kind of doesn't say it's a nice touch at the end of the movie. And
It is similar to Wonder Woman,
Mhm.
where the third act is a little messy, but because of the sacrifice, because of the relationship that has been built throughout the movie, it does bring it home. Maybe a great third act makes this one of the better MCU movies, where it is top tier, where the third act just kind of blows you away.
Well, I think this movie very much was just a introduction to Captain America,
Yeah.
an
Stepping
origin
stone.
story, and let's just get him to this point. We'll give him some backstory and things like that, but nothing around him really excelled. So I think that's probably my biggest criticism of the movie. But Captain America is probably my favorite MCU character. So I love going back and watching all these movies, and I just have fun with them. So.
Yeah, I think it's a worthy addition to the trilogy.
Yeah, I think people talk about Winter Soldier, Civil War, obviously. Civil War just being as big as it was. Winter Soldier, I think, the best MCU film. This one kind of gets left out a little, but I think it's definitely solid.
Do you guys think this trilogy is the best one in the MCU?
Yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah, me too.
Without a doubt. It's the strongest trilogy. It's one of the better superhero trilogies. Really one of the better trilogies, movie trilogies of all time, because there aren't many great trilogies.
Mm-hmm.
If this is the worst one, then
They're all really good or great.
yes.
Is Zola nuts for refusing that steak?
He's a vegetarian.
Ah,
Do you guys think when Red Skull got teleported in Tesseract, that's when he got sent to the Soul Stone?
Vormir?
Yeah.
yeah, that's what.
I think that's what he said. Yeah,
I
he
think that's
told
what he
us.
said.
Can we get a Red Skull spinoff after he got teleported?
I'd like to see why it's just him just sitting there,
He's got to be
doing
doing
nothing.
something, man.
just telling people that if they try and get this stone, they're
Yeah.
gonna have to kill their daughter. Yeah, I'd like to see that. Directed by David Lynch. Well, would you look at that? It's finally over. Hey guys, Bo Oliver here for one final send-off. Now, before I beg you guys to like and share this video, I'd like to thank our very special Patreon pledgers. We are very proud of the community we've been able to build here at NerdSoup, and it would not have been possible without our Patreon supporters. You guys are the true MVPs of this channel. Everything I've said, you keep the fridge full, you keep the lights on. There aren't enough words to thank you guys, but we'll do it anyway. Thank you. And we have a few videos coming up that have been suggested to us by Patreon pledgers. My Hero Academia, Neon Genesis Evangelion, and Full Metal Alchemist will be reviewed by Marissa, and yours truly, and Castlevania, which will be reviewed by Marissa and Aaron. And if you'd like to consider donating to our Patreon page, you can visit patreon.com/nerdsoup and check out some of the rewards we offer to our listeners. And really, we'd like to thank everyone who takes the time out of their day to watch our videos. Patreon pledger or not, your support is what keeps us motivated to keep giving the world our opinions on movies and TV shows and video games and pop culture, even though no one asked for it. We're still here, we're still yapping, and we hope you continue to join us. I'm Bo Oliver, and I support this message.